version 1, and we are going to grow into more spatial analytics and more information data enrichment. Information and data enrichment. Now, you know that ESRI has a lot of powerful data out there. For example, what are the demographics like in this particular area? Yes, you can go after the median household income. You can look at disposable income to see if there's spending power in this area. Or you can try to get a feel for what the demographics is with some broad categories with our tapestry segments that say, oh, this area's got a lot of laptop-toting, Lottie drinking people. Hey, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the demographics is like here. So all of this rich power of the ESRI platforms is coming into your business systems. Which takes us to ESRI Maps for Office. And the first thing that we're going to see is to see it in action. Over to Nate.
Thank you, Senta. Can everybody hear me in the back? Good? Nope, probably should share this. There we go. So here we're in Excel, and we're going to be taking a look at an insurance scenario. So here we have some insurance policy and sales information. Pretty traditional spreadsheet here. We've got customer information, address, and then some information about the policy that was actually sold. Now we know, looking at this, that there's lots of location here. This is great information to see on a map, look for patterns and trends. So with ESRI Maps, we get a new toolbar added to the Excel ribbon that's full of different tools to help you author and share your maps. So like Senta said, now in Excel, adding a map is really just as easy as adding a chart. So now we've got the map embedded in our spreadsheet. And this is an ESRI map, so we have a nice, smooth, interactive experience. We have access to all of the rich base maps available on ArcGIS Online, graphic map. And this data is in the New York area. And we can add our Excel data. So most spreadsheets contain some sort of location information. And ESRI Maps can help you extract the coordinates that might be in your data, the addresses, or the places like cities, countries, zip codes, and states. So in this case, we have address information. And if you have standard address fields, ESRI Maps will do a good job of matching them up. If not, it's easy enough to just pick them from the list. So let's add this data to the map. So now it's going out and geocoding all 1,100 addresses in this table. As it finds an address, it'll add a pin to the map. So there we have our pins, and watch what happens when we get above 500 pins. The map detects that we have dense data and turns on a visualization technique called clustering, which is a really smart way to work with dense data like this. Locations close together are snapped and represented with a single symbol. Now clustering is also dynamic, so as you interact with the map, you zoom in, you zoom out, these clusters will break apart and reform to show the right level of information. And these aren't just the locations of your spreadsheet information. This is the spreadsheet information. So we have access to all the attributes right through this pop-up. So it's that easy to get your spreadsheet information on the map, and we can easily share this map with the rest of our organization. So we'll call this our UC sales map, and we can provide a title, a tag, descriptive information. Then we can decide how we want to share this information. So we can share through ArcGIS Online right from Excel without ever having to leave and use another application. So let's share with the public, and I've also got some groups here, and I've got ESRI Maps for Office group. So now that sales information is actually going to be published on ArcGIS Online as a hosted feature service. So all the information will be shipped up to the cloud and turned into this hosted service that anyone can access. Topographic map is already published in ArcGIS Online, so sharing is not required. So now this information, the sales data, is being sent up to the cloud, turned into a hosted feature service, and then it's also going to be wrapped in a web map that's published and shared based on the settings that were set. So let's jump over to arcgis.com through the browser here, and we'll take a look at my content. And there's that sales information. It's starting to be published. CSV was set up, turned into a hosted feature service, and the map is going to be published and shared. So there we go, successfully published. Take a look at our content. There we've got our sales map. Now we also shared this map with a group. So here's my ESRI Maps for Office demo group, and we already have some maps in here. We refresh. There's that UC sales map. Right, so now the Excel user publishing his content, sharing it through the organization. And now once it's in ArcGIS Online, it's a web map. It can be accessed anywhere, through the browser, through the mobile device. One of the new features on ArcGIS Online is the ability to share through a group. So we can turn a group into a hosted application that lives in ArcGIS Online. So here's one of those gallery groups that I created for that. And there we see some maps that have already been shared. If we refresh, there's our UC sales map. So this looks really easy, but in concept, this is incredible. Now Excel users can, with a click of a button, share their content through their organization. And the Excel user is now publishing content on the website. I mean, these are people who in some cases don't even know what a web server is. And now they're able to publish their map and share it through this hosted application online. So now we have access to our UC sales map, and we can interact with all of our content. Where's that hosted feature service? Oh. Let's go back to that map again. Well, it looks like it's a rainy day in the cloud. We'll have to take a look at that. But once this content is published, we can easily add the sales information, but we can do a lot more through this map. So one of the great features of Excel is the ability to aggregate information through pivot tables. So here we have that sales information aggregated in two different views, through zip codes and through zip 3s. Now, zip 3s are the first 3 digits of the zip code, and it's just a larger unit of geography that is very common in places like the insurance world. So we can actually join our data to all sorts of common geographies out of the box, like zip codes and states and countries, but we can also add our own custom locations, our own custom units of geography. So for instance, I can search on ArcGIS Online for a feature service that's already been published, and this is New York and New Jersey zip 3s. So now we can select that layer, choose the name, in this case it's actually the zip 3s, and give it a name. So now right through this dialog, we just added our own custom geography to this list. So picture being able to add police precincts, school districts, your custom sales territory, all that information, those features published by the GIS department and through ArcGIS are now accessible to everyone in your organization to use to join to their data. So I'm going to grab our zip 3 pivot table here, zip3, match up our zip3 field, and now we can add this data right to our map. So we're going out and grabbing all of those zip3 geometries, the boundaries, and then joining that information with that pivot table. So there we go. So now we have our zip3s added to our map. And once they are added, they can be symbolized by choosing a single color from a palette, or we can group this information. Now for GIS users, this is classification, this is thematic rendering, this is color ramps. To an Excel user, they're just making groups. So we can choose any of the fields in our pivot table, like the, let's do our count of customers. And here we're going to be grouping by number ranges, but we can also do categories for unique values. And we have some basic classification methods like natural breaks, and we'll specify the number of classes and choose our color ramp. And now we have our zip3s added to the map. Like our points, these zip3s aren't just the boundaries, they actually contain that business information that was carried through from our pivot table. So we can share this map through ArcGIS Online, but in the business world, a really popular way to share information is through PowerPoint. So here we have PowerPoint, or Excel on the left, and Excel on the right, PowerPoint on the left. And here's a deck that I've started to put together. And like spreadsheets, a lot of presentations can benefit from that geographic perspective. Maps can give you a view into this information that's very different than anything you can create in tables, charts, and graphs. Now on the Excel ribbon, in the sharing section, we have the ability to create a PowerPoint slide. Now with a single click, that map is added to your PowerPoint presentation. Zoom in, maybe create another map. Now PowerPoint also has an ESRI Maps group. And ESRI Maps in PowerPoint is plugged into ArcGIS Online, which lets users create maps, create slides of any map that's shared on ArcGIS Online. So I'll search for sales. And there's that sales map. Let me grab a different. Jump into another account. Add a map that's already been published. So once this map is opened, we can configure the layers and preview the map. We can also supply a legend to make this information a little bit, to provide some context for the audience. Then we can create a new map slide. Let's take a look at this presentation. So we have some premium and coverage by zip3s in a chart, and then we have our maps, different scales. And then here's the overview of that information around Manhattan. This map created in PowerPoint has a play button. And I think we can all guess what this play button may do. It actually takes this map from a static image to a live interactive map, accessing ArcGIS Online, pulling in that content, and providing an interactive map right inside this running PowerPoint presentation. You get access to all the rich content that you can create in ArcGIS Online, pop-ups, charts, and graphs. And right from this presentation, I think we've all been in presentations or briefings where we have maps. What's over a little bit to the east, or what's a certain value in this feature here. There's no way to tell. Now we can explore all sorts of content right from our running presentation. And then when we're done, we can just continue on with the rest of the presentation. So that's a really quick tour of ESRI Maps for Office.
Thank you, Nate. So you saw in action ESRI Maps for Office. What ESRI Maps for Office does it brings in GIS, mapping, spatial, into Excel, into PowerPoint, and it also works with ArcGIS Online. So it brings in all of the content that you might have in ArcGIS Online, it brings it into Excel. Not only as maps in SharePoint, but also as layers in Excel. So you could, in Excel, search for a map that you published in ArcGIS Online as a map service, a feature service, and you can bring that in to be a backdrop for your Excel data in Excel. And you can publish all of it into ArcGIS Online. So there's a two-way relationship with the cloud. And you can pull in a map that you published in ArcGIS Online into your PowerPoint presentation. You can create slides from Excel into PowerPoint. So a really powerful way to empower your office users with mapping, with the work that you do in your GIS departments, and pushing that into the rest of your organization so that GIS and your data and your maps can pervade the organization and support better decision making. Now, what I would like to know is understand the industries that you come from. So, a show of hands, how many people here are from government? A lot of folks from government, that's not surprising. Oil and gas, a smaller subset, maybe 10%. How about utilities? Maybe 5%. What other industries do we have here? Retail. All kinds of business. Just a few business people, okay. All right, any other industries we've got here that if you could just tell me an industry and we can see a show of hands. Higher education. Non-profits. Anything else?
Agriculture.
Consulting. A few folks in consulting. And agriculture? Is it? Just agriculture. All right, thank you very much. So we have a wide range of industries represented here. Now, what I would like to understand is how many of you can envision other parts of your organization using Microsoft Office for Excel? How many of you can envision the work that you do being now made available for the rest of your organization through this product? Quite a lot of you, almost all of you. That's encouraging because that's what we want to do with this product. We want to take the maps that you've got, the contents that you have, and push it out to the rest of your organization so that people can use your content without always coming and saying, hey, can you make this simple map for me? So now you can say, you can do it yourself. And you can focus on making those powerful maps, that powerful services that can serve as a backdrop for their decision making. So it frees you up to really work on your powerful GIS work. Another quick question. How many of you how many of you think that you could be using, as a GIS person, that you could be using Excel? Okay, which is expected because what we are doing with especially the Excel part of the product is we are reaching out primarily to your users in your organization, not as much to you, but for you to push out your work to users of your work in your organization. How about PowerPoint? How many of you feel like you could use PowerPoint, just you yourself? A bigger number. Okay, thank you very much. All right. So what maps are available to ESRI Maps for Office? We have a set of base maps that are available. You can also pull in map services from ArcGIS Online and from your organization. We have over 20 USA demographic maps that are just available. For example, USA median household income, disposable income, and so on. And we have thousands of maps published by the user community, published by you. And as well, maps published for your organization. And we do have big maps, but it's on a BYOK policy. You have to bring your own key. So with ESRI Maps for Office, you can map your data. You can bring in your points, you can style them. You can make color-coded maps of polygons, lines, and you can do basic visualization like clustering. Basic but powerful ways to look at your data and see how many points do I have here versus somewhere else. And you can do heat maps. So you can say, how are my points distributed? Are they concentrated more in one area than another? And we also support styling your data. Notice the difference in terminology. This is because we are reaching out to your users who might not know GIS, who might be like, what? Symbology? What does this mean? But styling, they understand styling. So a lot of the terminology that you see in this product is going to be catered to people who do not know GIS per se. So you style your data by choosing icons and shapes. So these are just basic ways in which you symbolize your data. And you group your data, like Nate said, instead of saying what's your render of choice or your classification type, we just say you're grouping your data. So a small but big difference in terms of how we word things and the difference in the way we design the user experience, because it's intended for your users. Yeah, I just mentioned grouping. So, and you can spatially enable your data. So you can bring in your Excel data that has some spatial information. We've got address matching, and we provide a really good, excellent address matching in North America, Europe, and Australia. We do good address matching in parts of Asia, South Africa, and parts of South America. Rest of the world, we do some limited address matching, but we are planning to improve this as time goes on. And not only can you use addresses in your spreadsheet, you can also do lookups using common geographies. For example, you have countries data, like sales by country. If you're a global organization, you can map that data. You have information that's by region, say state names or first level administrative boundaries, provinces. We will be supporting first level administrative boundaries really soon. And we have postal codes, zip code based lookups in the United States. But what is really powerful is that we enable you to do lookups based on your boundaries. This is really powerful. As a GIS person, you know that you have your own boundaries in your organization. You have regions, school districts, you have maybe a tri-state area, tri-county area, regions that you use for doing planning, for sales, for regions where you have suppliers, all kinds of regions. You might have regions that are specific to your organization, many regions, many types of regions specific to your organization. Now you can pull all of that in as long as you have it published as a feature service or a map service. That layer can now be the way you look up Excel data and put it on a map. So once you're done visualizing your data and doing the simple analysis that we talked about, you can now share your data. You can send a snapshot through email, you can put it on a PowerPoint slide, and the best and most powerful, you can share it as a map on ArcGIS Online. Nate just talked about how an Excel user who might not understand web servers or even the cloud can now publish an entire map into the cloud. And once it's available in the cloud, you can put it into PowerPoint as a dynamic presentation, so that your presentation is not just, having a map in a presentation, that's pretty powerful. But having an interactive map in a presentation, that just can blow the minds of the people that you're working with. That can just say, hey, look at the power I bring into the organization. And once you share your map, it's available across multiple platforms. This is powerful. So this means that when you have your Excel map and you share it, now somebody on a mobile device, an iPhone, Android, Windows phone, somebody on a mobile device can just pull up that map. They can log in to their organization and now it's available. It's on their phone. So what did it take to do it? The press of a button in Excel. That's it. And you had to have publisher access, but that's about it. And ESRI Maps for Office supports many languages. At the get-go, we support 9 languages. And we are planning to add more language support as time goes on. Feedback here is very useful because we would like to know what languages are important to you, and so that we can prioritize the languages appropriately. So now that you know about ESRI Maps for Office, the question is, how do I get it? So ESRI Maps for Office is offered through the ArcGIS Online system. And to get a hold of it, to get the download link, you should be an ArcGIS Online organization subscriber. Trial subscriptions are available. And the download links are being sent to the ArcGIS Online administrator, the organization administrator. So if you have an organization already, you can talk to your administrator to get a hold of a download link for ESRI Maps for Office. The pricing that we follow is basically the ArcGIS Online subscription pricing. So whenever you access geocoding, you access services that are on ArcGIS Online, the standard ArcGIS Online pricing and credit system apply. So what's on our roadmap? Right here and now, we've got version 1.0 available, and it's available with the ArcGIS Online subscription. And what's on our roadmap? So we are planning for ESRI Maps for Office, we are planning many small releases. So we are planning maybe 3 releases a year. These releases will be customer driven, so what goes into a release is gonna depend on what we hear from you and what you tell us is important to you. Right now we know that we are planning to add support for ArcGIS portal. This is your organization with its own cloud instead of ArcGIS Online. We are also planning to add support for more out-of-the-box analytics and information enrichment. If you remember the slide where I showed you that we've got location analytics is going to bring mapping and visualization, it's going to bring spatial analytics and information enrichment into your business systems. We are strong in the mapping and visualization right now. We'll be growing in analytics and we'll be venturing into information enrichment. That's on our roadmap. And we are also planning to evolve to support Office 365 so that you don't have to work with on your machine installation of Office. You can work with Office on the cloud. If your organization is one of those organizations which is using Office on the cloud, then this is something that we are planning to support in the future. As well, we are planning deeper integration with other Office applications like Outlook. So which brings us to the end of our session. So before we start question and answers, I would encourage you to go out and evaluate our session. Your feedback is very important to us. You probably hear this at every session, but this is how we know what you want and how we can get better at it. And this particular session's ID is 916. And now we are open to questions. Yes? The question is, how do I get an evaluation copy? The way to get an evaluation copy is to sign up for a free trial of ArcGIS Online. When you get a free trial of ArcGIS Online, you become a member of, or you can start off an organization. Either you start a free trial and you start a new organization,